Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me on the very first video on YouTube on the Brooklyn's Restorations account. Thanks for making it, guys. Thanks for making it. I hope you're comfy at home, or maybe you're watching this at work. I don't know, but I hope you're having a good time. It's been a long week. So, because this is the first video, it's going to be a little bit longer than what these shop update videos will normally be. Normally, I'm just going to run through and tell you about the cars that we worked on for the week. But I kind of wanted to give you a little bit better picture of what this place is and who I am and who I work with. So we'll run through introductions real quick. I'll do a quick tour of the shop so you know what it all looks like. And then we'll go through some cars. What do you think? You ready? Cool. Awesome. So first off, my name is Adam. All right, I work here at Brooklyn's Restorations with my friend and business partner, Christian. That's Christian's desk right there. He's got his own desk. He's so proud. All right, so we're going to start out here in the office. Brooklyn's Restorations, we do restorations. I mean, it's in the name, guys. It's right there in the name. But we don't do them on Brooklyn's because that's a racetrack over in England. We don't live in England. We're here in St. Louis, Missouri. We have this wonderful old 8,500 square foot building. We do restorations and service work on classic European cars. What I mean by classic European cars is anything from like 1900 up to about 1985, and then it gets questionable until about 1995, and then we say no after 1995. So, but we're always happy to help, even if you don't have a car that falls within that realm, which you probably do. That's a pretty big span there. But if you have a 1996 Land Rover, I'll point you in the direction of who you need to go to. But I'm not working on it. All right? I'm not doing it. I love Land Rovers, but I'm not doing it. So let's get into a quick little tour around the shop here. So we're starting out right here in the office. Isn't it glorious? It's not a big office. It's not shiny and pretty. We don't have polished marble floors or anything like that. There's no cars on display in our showroom. We don't have any of that stuff. We are very much a bare bones shop when it comes to the office, and we don't need anything more than this. So back behind me here, you're going to see a bunch of bookshelves. All of these books are reference material that we use almost on a day-to-day basis pertaining to the cars that we work on. I know the internet is a fantastic place to get reference material from, but you really can't beat original factory manuals, original factory parts manuals, service bulletins from the dealers, stuff like that. And we got a ton of that kind of stuff. So that's all really, really important, as well as literature that's been written over the years about these cars. So that's really, really important to have too. I'd certainly want to listen to a guy who wrote a book and spent 10 years of his life writing that book. I definitely want to hear his opinion on what should be original and what shouldn't, as opposed to, Joe Blow Schmo on the internet, who he owned one for a couple of years, and he'll tell you what's right. He may be right too. I don't know. But we use all this reference material often. It's wonderful stuff. So let's move on to the next spot. Right over here is our bathroom. We use Charmin. That's what we use. It's good stuff. That's all you need to know about the bathroom. Here we are in the, this is, you can tell by the welders and stuff. This is actually our metalworking side of the shop here. Really cool place. We're going to do a lot of updates and a lot of upgrades in this building. We'll get to the cars here in a second. You can see we have machine tools. We've got welders. We got, planishing hammers, English wheels, brakes, all that stuff. Band saws. We got all the good tools. We'll be doing a lot of work, sheet metal work in here. We don't right now. We kind of relegated it to being a storage area for a little while. When the winter months come, it gets really cold over here, and there's no heaters on this side of the shop. So we tend to just kind of store cars over here during the winter. Like I said, I'll get to the cars that are back here in a second. In this side of the shop, we also have a pit. So this building used to be a frame and body building for large trucks. And they used to have these pits that had these long iron beams in them that they would put the truck on the beams and then would straighten the frame on it. All the beams are gone, but the pits are still here. So that's some of the stuff that over time we're going to fill in these pits, and we'll do videos about that kind of stuff. We'll do videos about, you know, major updates to the actual shop, not just in the shop. We'll do videos about that stuff here soon. Another thing we're going to do videos on is the restoration of parts. And we have a whole bunch of parts, folks. A lot of this stuff is used. It's good used, but it's used. We have some new old stock stuff, and we, of course, have some new stuff floating around in here. Let me get out of the sunlight here. Jesus. Christian's going to do videos of step-by-step processes, kind of breakdown processes of restorations on parts. They're not going to be really like technical. They're just going to be a video of him taking apart like a heater core assembly, doing the restoration process, reassembling it, and showing you the finished product. Those videos are going to be his thing. He's going to put those on this page too. So, you know, you're going to get double the content out of two dudes. That's going to be great. Like I said, we got a lot of parts over here. This is about 2,500 square feet of the building right here. This is the oldest section of the building too. It's built in the 30s. The section that the metal working section and the next sections were all built in the 60s as far as I know. So that's parts. It's cool. I know, you're excited. Lots of MG stuff, lots of Austin Healey, Jaguar, Land Rover, tons of that kind of stuff in there. If you're looking for, you know, that rare Simca engine block, we probably don't have it. I do have some Sunbeam engines in there, but, you know, a Renault Gordini engine, I don't have one. Sorry. Now, moving on to the next section. This is our main assembly section. It's the largest section of the shop. This is where we do, as I said, assembly. We do the maintenance work. We do interiors, engine builds, all that stuff goes on over here. It's just the main section. It's big. It also has heaters. You see these big long things up here. That's heaters. There's heat in this side. It's nice. It'll cook you out. It's really good stuff. We'll get to the cars in a section. This is also where our main toolboxes are. That's my toolbox there. Right on the other side is Christian's toolbox. Our main toolboxes are over here. So that's what this side is. Going over to the last section here, like I said, this place did frame and bodies on large trucks, tractor trailers, fire trucks, dump trucks. So they had a paint booth because they did collision repair and frame straightening on this stuff. So all that stuff needed to get painted when it was done. So you don't have a standard car paint booth here. This entire section of the shop is one really long paint booth. We only have some of the lights on right now. I could turn the rest of them on, but it'd be awful bright in here. So this is the paint booth. Right now, it again is kind of a cluttered storage area. We don't do a lot of paint work in-house right now. We will be doing that. That's going to be on our agenda here soon. But as of right now, we just kind of store stuff over there. So I'll get to what's in there in a minute. So that's a really quick and dirty shop tour for you. If you'd like a more thorough shop tour, if you want to have a more in-depth shop tour, and even with some outside touring of the stuff that we have got outside, let me know. There's a comment section. Go down there and type it in your wants and desires of me and the shop, and keep it family friendly, would you? So let's start talking about some cars. I'm going to tell you about every car that's inside right now. Okay, now every week that I put these out, I'm not going to go through every car because I haven't worked on every car, but I want to give you a good baseline of where everything's at. Make sense? So let's start over here in the metal shop. We've got two of them. Okay? This guy right here is an 1961 ice blue MG midget. That would be a Mark I midget. 61 is very early car. This is a very early car. It was made in 61. I think it would have been sold as a 62. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have. But Ice blue was kind of like a 4 or 5 month color. They didn't make it for very long. Got replaced with Clipper blue. This car belongs to myself and a friend of mine. It will probably be up for sale here soon. The reason for that being is that he and I do not have the time to finish this car. We got too many other projects in our lives. We got too many other things we want to do with our lives. So this is going to go by the wayside. To give you a little history about this real quick, this was a Tuesday night shop learning project. So this was not the shop learning, but the shop was teaching car club members how to restore a car using this car. All kinds of things happened that it kind of fell by the wayside, and we never got around to finishing it. It has a full interior kit, a brand new wiring harness, all new brake pipes, all the brakes have been done, the suspension's finished, rebuilt engine, rebuilt gearbox. It's got a ton of parts that go with it. It will be up for sale here soon. So keep a lookout on our Facebook page. I'll post it up through there. The next one. This is a 1969 Landar R6. If you don't know what a Landar is, well, that's not crazy. Most people don't know what a Landar is. It's a pretty uncommon car. They only made about 5 of these. I'll get you kind of a frontal view here if I can. There it is. They only made about 5 of these. They're pretty uncommon. They are very fast, very cool cars. Not a lot to tell you. It's based around the Mini. It was a turnkey production car. You would order it. The guy who ordered this one was out of Kansas City. He bought it. He was a doctor. He ordered the car up. He optioned out everything for this car. You could get it with a couple of different A-Series, BMC A-Series engines in it. And this one came with a 1275 Cooper S engine. Remember, it's a mini drivetrain, so there's a mini transmission and all that stuff there. 1275 Cooper S engine with an Arden 8-port cylinder head on top of it and fuel injection in 1969. So that's one hell of a powerful engine for a car that I think weighs under 1,000 pounds wet. All right. That one's one of mine. I'm going to definitely get that thing running and driving. We'll take it out. We'll do a video of it. We'll show you what it does. The bodywork is roughly put on there. It needs a lot of work to get it properly secured. The chassis is in great shape. All the suspension's in fantastic shape. The car was actually had been gone through in about the 90s, early 2000s. So it's a lot of it's still in good shape. Needs some new tires, that's for sure, but it's going to be one hell of a fun car to drive around. So we'll get to that when we get to that. You'll see that when that happens. All right, on to the next section of the shop here. Right behind me here is a 1980 Triumph TR8. This is a fun one. I'm going to ask you guys right now. I got 3 options on what color that car needs to go. You tell me what color you think it ought to go. The 3 options are, the car was originally green, all right? Should it go back to green? Should it be repainted in the color that it is? And it's really hard to see what color it is. It's actually a color called dark tulip, which is a purple color. Should it be repainted in the purple color, or should I paint it black? That's the question. I know what I really want to do with it, but we'll see what you guys say, right? Neat car. It's in here for paint and interior. It does run and drive. It does all of that stuff. It's in here for paint and seats and door cards done on it. It has new carpet. It has a new top. The engine runs great. It's a 30,000 mile car. It's a fantastic little thing. It's going to be put up for sale after that. Should be a good one. Next up, Triumph TR3. This one's in here for a full nut and bolt restoration. I was doing floors on this thing this week. I was doing sills on this thing this week. Dog legs, lots and lots of metal work. It's actually a really solid car. It just had some little pinholes throughout the bottom end of it that we're taking care of. It had been hit in the back end. That's where this primer you see is along that line. That's from me repairing metal along that edge. It had been hit in the back end. Needed a whole trunk floor replaced. Didn't need the spare tire carry area replaced, but did need the whole trunk floor. So that one you're going to have a lot more updates on coming along here. Next, a Jaguar XJS. This is about a 1989, 1990 car. It's convertible. It's a factory convertible car. Earlier ones were actually done by an off-site company, and I think, if my memory serves me correctly, they started to do them in the Jaguar factory by 89, 90. So I think that this is a factory one. It has hydraulic top issues, or it had hydraulic top issues. Those are all sorted now. It had a rear window here that didn't function. Because that window didn't function, it got rainwater inside the car, which molded all the carpet and actually damaged the top electronics, which is why the top didn't function. And so we will be doing a full carpet interior in it, and we've dynamited it already, as you can see. It'll get a full carpet set put in it, which is right there, and 2 new reupholstered seats for it. It's had some other modifications done to it that are kind of cool. I mean, the seats have been moved back like 2 to 3 inches because the guy's kind of a tall guy who owns it. And there's a parcel shelf behind the seats that we've lowered down about 6 inches. So that required us to move all the top hydraulics and electronics from behind the seats inside the car to the trunk area, which where there was ample room to do that. So that one's going to have a lot of update here, a lot of progress on it here soon, since it just kind of needs a carpet set put on it. It sounds easy. It's a big job still. All right, MGA 1600 Roadster. This car's been with us for a while. All right, so you can go to our Facebook page and you can see this thing from, day one of us opening. This car was here, and it doesn't look like a lot has been done, but we work on it quite a bit. When I say that was a rough MGA, that thing was rough. I'm pretty sure if I'd have taken the doors all the way off one day, it would have just folded in half on me. It's had a full chassis replacement. And almost every piece of metal on the bottom end and some of the stuff on the top of the car has been replaced. It's got a lot of little stuff. The last thing that I did on it was I mounted the doors kind of in a permanent fashion, as in all the latches, all the screws, all the hardware was in the doors. Lined them up. Everything was lining up beautifully. I got a little bit of stuff to do on one of the rear fenders, but the other fender is great. The other rear fender is fantastic. This front fender is fantastic. The other front fender needs a little bit of work towards the bottom end of it. Actually doesn't need a lot, and that one will be off to paint here soon. So, I know it's been a long time coming for that. I know it's been a long time coming for that car. But you will see leaps and bounds of progress on that one here soon. That's going to be great. Sunbeam Alpine. Not the Big Brother Tiger, which is the same car, just with a big V8 in it. I say big V8. It's actually a small V8. But Alpine. This one came in for a top and seats. When we got it in, there was no COVID. And as we started working on it, COVID hit. And for some odd reason, everybody in the world wanted seat kits for these cars, so there were no seat kits for a long time. We finally got a top like last year, put that on. We were still waiting on seat kits. I believe they're on order now. I think Christian said he had ordered these up recently. So, or at least they've been on order and maybe they're shipping soon. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like they're on their way is what I always get to hear. So this is going to get some seats covered, new diaphragms, new foam, all that stuff put in them. And we'll throw them in the car, and the car will go home. It's so close to leaving. I'm so excited. Before we touch on this beautiful beast, let's do a couple of the cars in the background here. Right here, in and amongst the piles of things, this is a BMW motorcycle. It's in here for ignition issues. We basically just need to order the ignition, and she's done. She can go home. It's an interesting bike. I believe the owner is going to drive it kind of around the country or across the country. He sells antennas. That's what his business does. His business is, I'm going to do a little shout out here if I can get it in the shot. His business is Antennas Direct. They sell those things at Walmart. His antennas are sold at Walmart and a bunch of other places. I'm sure of that. Good quality product, by the way. If you are in the market for an antenna or you want just a good antenna, his antenna is fantastic. His goal with this is he's going to take it around the country and he's going to put this mast up and he's going to look for signals using one of his antennas. and see how many channels he gets in the middle of nowhere. And he's going to post that stuff up on YouTube. When he does, I'll let you guys know about it. It's really cool stuff. So that's the motorcycle he wants to do it with. Neat stuff. Behind it here, under that car cover, is a Lagonda Rapier. I believe a 1934 Lagonda Rapier. Like the sword. A rapier? A sword? It's an interesting car. That's all you need to know. There's a lot of history with it. We're actually waiting on connecting rods for it. So it's under a car cover. It's in cold storage right now. Above it is a 1951 MGTD hot rod. Now, before any of you get all upset that I butchered up an MGTD to make it into a hot rod, it actually has spent most of its life as a hot rod. That car came out of Southern California. It was a Southern California hot rod. It's had a lengthened chassis put in it, or it has a lengthened chassis. It's extra 8 inches longer, and who doesn't like that, right? It had an Alfa Romeo straight 6 fitted to it back in the 60s. So this is a period hot rod. Now, the Alfa Romeo engine is long gone, and I'm okay with that. I don't want a 30s era Alfa engine. I'm sure I could probably finance my house with it, but I'm good with that. So a long time ago, I put a Rover V8 in the front end of this thing. I started doing chassis modifications. I have not gotten to it. I probably never will. This car will probably end up being slated for sale at some point in time here too, or parted out. One of the two. It's a dream project, but it's not one that I have time for. Behind me here is a BMW Mini Cooper S, and it is the long one. It's the Clubman, or whatever they call it. This is Christian's wife's car. It has a dead cylinder. He has it in here so he can pull the cylinder head off and figure out what's going on with it. Hopefully it's the cylinder head. Hopefully it's got like a bent valve or something in it. That's what everything's pointing to. I'm about 90% sure that it's a bad valve. Anyway, on to cooler stuff, all right? Nobody wants to talk about a new Mini. This isn't the new Mini channel. This is the old car channel. All right, so behind me here, this is the front chassis and remaining body section of a 1937 Lagonda LG6. I heard it was called a 36 as well, 1936 Lagonda, but I think the owner does say that it's a 37. So this is one of the very first ones made. This was W.O. Bentley's personal car when he worked for Lagonda. And we have the privilege of turning wrenches on it, all right? W.O. Bentley owned this car. He drove this car. That's pretty, I mean, it's not, Enzo Ferrari, but it's W.O. Bentley. It's kind of the same thing. So the engine is out right now. It's up at the machine shop. We will be doing a build on that one. We may do a video for that build. It's a really neat engine. It's a Meadows engine that these used, a big Meadows straight 6. Lots of fun bells and whistles with this one. We're actually building it to kind of be a super dependable car. He likes to do, the owner of this car likes to do the Hemmings Great Race. So we want to make this a super dependable car so that he can take it on the Hemmings Great Race, and he doesn't have to drag Christian and I along and graciously pay for everything for us. And we don't ask him to do that, but he is a very nice guy. And he won't have to do that once that car is done, because that car is just going to be bulletproof. You won't need to bring us along. It'll be bulletproof. All right. Last of the cars. Last of them here. That is a Bentley Mark VI. That car belonged to my father. He passed away a few years ago. Some of the cars that I say are mine or belong to me were probably my father's at one time. So I'm not some like independently wealthy guy who just goes out and buys cool cars. That one belonged to my dad. Growing up, that car sat in a garage in my backyard. From like when I was 6 years old till maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that sat in a garage in the backyard. And it never got anything done to it. And he would always tell my sister, he'd say, one day you're going to get married and that's going to be your wedding getaway car. Now she has been married and been divorced, and it never moved from the spot in the backyard. Well, one day I told him, I'm yanking it out. We're taking it to the shop. We're going to see if it runs. We got it running for him. He helped me out getting it running. He was very excited to be there. Not too long after hearing this thing run, he actually passed away. So one of the things that I'm doing with this, I'm not going to do a nut and bolt restoration on this car. I don't have Bentley money. I just don't have it. These cars do have a value. They're very interesting automobiles. I think they're underappreciated as Bentleys because they were the Bentley that wasn't done by Bentley is kind of the thing. I mean, they were done by Bentley, but they weren't. This is one of the first Rolls-Royce era Bentleys. So it's the first post-war era Bentley for sure, post-World War II. I want to get this car running, driving, and stopping. That's it. I want to drive it around a couple of times. I want my sisters to both be able to drive it around a couple of times. That's it. That's all I want to do with it. And then I want to put it up for sale for somebody who wants an interesting project, who wants to make the promise to their daughter that that'll be her wedding car, and then it can sit in their backyard for 30 years. So neat car. I hope to get to it someday here soon. I have to get to it someday here soon. In front of it is a Triumph TR3 chassis. This TR3 chassis goes to the TR3 that's getting all the body work done in the other room. We did every part on this. Rear axle's been rebuilt. All the brakes have been done. The suspension's all been done. Transmission's rebuilt. Engine's rebuilt. All of it's done. It's ready to go. It's ready for that body to be finished and put back on its chassis. It's going to be a fun one. It's not, we didn't do anything fancy to it. There's no like, you know, fire breathing cam in it. We didn't port the head. There's no supercharger going on it. None of that stuff. Just a stock one. Over here, my finger out of the way. Over here, this is a Riley. It's a Riley Special. It's built off of a Riley 9. It is affectionately referred to as Shitty Bang Bang. All right, it's a really, really neat car. It does not have the Riley 9 4-cylinder engine. I believe they all had 4 cylinders. Doesn't have the 4-cylinder engine in it anymore. It's got a big 6-cylinder Riley engine in it. It's a handful to drive and a real hoot, and we will be doing more with that one as well. Next to it is a Maserati 3500 GT. This is actually going to likely be sent down to Texas to have an Italian panel beating company who just does classic Italian cars, have them go through and do all the metal repair and stuff like that on it. It really needs a lot. There's a lot wrong with this car, and it's one of those that it's just not something that I think that I feel comfortable with saying, I got this. Like I'm a big enough man to say, hey, this is not really my wheelhouse. Let's get it to somebody who it is. I'll restore the rest of the car. I have no problems doing the rest of the stuff on it, but the sheet metal repair on this is going to be a tough one for me. Next to that is a 2001 Lotus 340R. This is a Honda swap Lotus. It has a K20A engine in it with a Rotax supercharger. This thing is an absolute beast on the ride. It is untamable. If you have a Hellcat Charger, you drive a wimpy car. This thing is a monster. If you can get these little tiny tires to hook, this thing is a rocket ship, all right? It is a scary little death trap, and I love every second of it. It was out for dyno tuning the last time we had it running. It's been running and driving and stuff like that. It was out for dyno tuning and getting a good fuel map put on it for drivability reasons. And it sprung an oil leak. Typical British car. Even with a Honda engine, it gets an oil leak. So we got to yank the engine and fix the rear main seal on it. But what a beast. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I know it was very, very long, and thank you for sticking with it. These videos are going to be a lot shorter than this. I think I'm running at about 29 minutes now, so it's a long one. We have a lot more content that we want to make for this channel. We want to do building updates. We want to do specific car videos. You know, hey, this is a car that we started the process on, and we're going to, you know, go through the entire car, and you're going to be there with us. We have those videos that Christian's going to do of restoring individual components to some of these cars and showing you the step-by-steps on those. And we're going to have, you know, times where we're out at events, and we're going to do either live feeds, or we're going to do, you know, videos of these special events that we go out to and are a part of. We get into some shenanigans here, so we're going to have some funny stuff. I do joke around a lot more than I have in this video. I just had a lot of information I needed to get out to you as quickly as possible. So I thank you for sticking with it. I hope that you continue to subscribe. Click the like, the share, the notify bell icon stuff, and the subscribe stuff. stick with it, guys. I promise these videos are just going to get better and better and better. You're going to have a lot of fun with us. And I will see you next Friday. Cool? Thanks, guys. Bye.